Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. This is iAllegedly. And I've got a good one for you today because everybody is running scared right now. And you have to get control of yourself. You got to get control of your finances. And you've got to understand that we are all in this big boat together and to work on this. So, lot to cover today, all over the map. But please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And we do have a sponsor today, Patriot Gold Group. But there's really no order. So we're just going to cover it all. Some people like the mishmash of news, but man, oh man, one thing that we were talking about was Wells Fargo Bank, first of all, was shut down. And what I mean by shut down was they were down. You couldn't log into your account, couldn't use the ATM, couldn't use online banking, no transfers, no Zelle transactions. Guys, when this happens for an hour, it's bad. 6 hours, it's worse. But on Monday, this thing was shut down for hours and they tried to minimize it and say it's no big deal. If you ever have a problem with your bank, the first thing you need to do is go to a free site called Down Detector, downdetector.com, and you can punch it in. You'll get a little reading like this that says, hey, there's a problem with Wells Fargo right now. Now, they got it resolved. And here's the thing. Eventually, these are going to be major hacks. These are going to be them getting compromised from somebody, somewhere, somehow, some way. And it's just a matter of time until there's more of a banking shutdown because of this. Now, protect yourself, guys. Make sure you have multiple bank accounts. Make sure you have different ways of paying your bills. I always tell people to have at least 10% of their income in cash. If you are on a fixed income, you're on Social Security, what do you make in a month? How about have 10% of that in a drawer that nobody knows about? Do not tell anybody that you do this. Stack in private. Stack in private. The next thing is the malls themselves are absolutely devastated right now, guys. There were 2,500 malls across America, just 15 years ago. Now you're down to 700 malls across the country. Isn't that crazy? Shopping malls. Now, I'm not talking about little shopping centers. I'm talking about big malls. We have anchor stores and things like that. The latest anchor store to have a problem is JCPenney's. And now you're seeing liquidation sales. You're seeing big problems with this. Up the street from the airport right now. But what's going to happen with all these malls? Right now we're hearing about things being ripped down to have them build, more housing. I talked about in my last video, 2 office buildings in Denver that sold at a 90% discount. 90% discount so they could build 700 apartments and condos. That's crazy. Costco is limiting the number of gold bars you can buy, which is ridiculous. You don't buy it from there. Okay, first of all, go to Patriot Gold when you buy your gold. Okay. The other thing is, Dr. Marvin sent me this one, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. One thing that I always tell people to do is balance your checkbook. Know how much you have in your bank accounts right now, especially if Dan, I don't write checks. I use debit card. All my payments are online. Know what you have in that account exactly, down to the penny. Know if you've had online payments that have not gone through. If you do, in fact, write checks, make sure that you're protected so you know what's in that account. Because I'm telling you right now, mail theft is on the rise. It is crazy what they're doing right now because what they're taking is checks, paper checks of any amount, and they're going through people's accounts, trying to verify amounts, calling and verifying amounts. And it still shocks me in this world. Hey, listen, I've got a check for $1,840. Will it clear? Well, we can't say, but a lot of banks will still do that voice authorization if you call the individual bank. Okay, well, let's write a check for $1,800. So check washing is when you get rid of the amount, wipe it out, and then change it. So this is happening all over the place. But if you know what's in your account, if you know what checks have cleared, then you don't have to worry about this, guys. And yeah, does it take a little bit of an effort to do this? Let's get a kick. This park is nice. It's got a little hill up here. You can walk down and check it out. So, just a beautiful morning up here. So, when you know, get control of your finances. All these banks want you to go online banking, which I think is horrible. I think it's a terrible idea. And, don't have printed statements. I'm telling you guys, you got to know about this, because if you bounce a check for whatever reason, you're going to get a letter in the mail. Okay. And if you get that letter, you're going to be more likely to do something about it. So I'm going to feed the squirrels real quick. Let's talk about our sponsor, Patriot Gold Group. Guys, there's a few things that are going on right now that you cannot ignore. This has been the longest stretch between recessions in history. Is it coming? Without a doubt. One thing that you can do to protect yourself and your retirement is get yourself into gold. The best place to do that is Patriot Gold Group. Call them today, 888-330-1431. They have had over 10,000 transactions. They've done over $1 billion in sales. They are number one rated with Consumer Affairs for 9 years in a row. Go with number one, guys. Go with Patriot Gold Group. They will answer all your questions. One thing that's funny is I'm hearing stories where people are limiting the gold buys right now. Not with Patriot Gold Group. You just can't go wrong with number one rated. Listen, contact them today, 888-330-1431. If you don't want to call, use the link below, but let them know that Dan from iAllegedly sent you. Do it now before it's too late. Now, one thing that we all have to do is get ready to pay more. And the world wants people to pay their fair share. Now, one thing that happened during COVID, which was fascinating, was a lot of people went and bought second homes in the state of Montana. Montana has always been a very inexpensive place to buy stuff, and it's very nice. And a lot of rich people went there and bought homes since the pandemic. Okay, well, the state has realized that it's not getting its fair share of taxes, and that you have a lot of people that bought second homes that aren't paying much at all. So they're going to fix that. They're going to change their tax base to second homes. If you do not live in Montana full time, they're going to basically almost triple your tax rates for homeowners. It's right now it's 0.076 to own property in Montana. That is crazy cheap, guys. That is nothing right now. Now you have multimillionaires, you have all these people that went out and bought second homes. I know a nurse and her husband who are great people, but they went and bought a second home in Montana. We're going to retire there in 15 years. Okay, but now they use it as their vacation home and everybody drives up there and stays there. Well, they've benefited from this huge rash, in people buying from out of state, especially California, and watching the values just shoot through the roof. Okay, they're borrowing against it, but they're not paying the taxes. So the state legislature sits down and they say, we're going to make it 1.9%. 1.9%, guys. It's not a cheap tax rate anymore. It's through the roof. I know people that have pulled shenanigans and, register their cars in Arizona. My friend lives there. And I dated this nurse whose brother was an idiot, still is an idiot as far as I'm concerned, that had all his cars there and then would sell them here and would do the transfers from Arizona because you could register a car and it's really long and really inexpensive. Just a complete criminal. And but he would drive the cars throughout California. Okay, didn't have to get them smog, didn't have to do all the stuff that the rest of us have to do here in the state. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these people, and if this legislation goes through, these people are done, because now Montana's a long way away, and it's not if you're not saving money living there, why would you buy a second home there? You know what I mean? What's the point? Ray Dalio, who used to run Bridgewater, is now their chairman emeritus. He is sitting there telling us how, hey, listen, you got to understand there is a real problem with treasuries right now, and people need to understand that there's going to be a massive collapse in the banking industry. Okay? Look at Greg Manorino. Greg Manorino is going crazy right now talking about this and getting himself ready for this, but that's nothing new for all of us. And again, get ready. People are running scared, So The other thing is there is a vibe right now with America. I found a great article talking about maybe you should sell now in America. Maybe you should just prepare yourself. Now, couple things. You know, Donald Trump yesterday had this really long talk. Squirrel hanging out in the tree right there. Really long talk with Vladdy and with Zelensky to talk about peace for 2 hours. Let's hope something comes of that. But one thing that you have to understand that I don't believe, okay, and don't take me the wrong way, because I'm telling you, I hate being the cancer expert amongst all my friends. If you get a cancer diagnosis, get multiple opinions. But I want you to understand the likelihood that a very slow cancer that Joe Biden was diagnosed with, metastasizing and going to the bones, would take years. They would know about this. Now, this is the perfect topic that I'll cover extensively on the private channel, iAllegedly Live. Sign up at iAllegedly.tv, because this is BS, guys, okay? And it's an absolute joke that we have this, okay? So it's a joke that you have, that you're supposed to believe that the leader of the free world didn't get checked out and they just found it a couple weeks ago. No way, Jose. I'm telling you that. He is definitely one of the most, he has a physician that travels with him when you're president. He goes to the doctor more than you and I will ever go in our lifetimes, okay? Even if you believe that he was cognitively impaired and getting worse, he still is seen by a doctor. Now, the doctors can lie, but they knew this guy's condition. That's my opinion. I had a man that worked for me 25 years ago, and his wife had just passed away, and I didn't ask him about it, you know. And then finally one day at lunch, he's telling me, I'm like, oh, when did your wife pass? And we were talking about it. And he was kind of a broke guy. They didn't have health insurance, never went to the doctor, and she was sick for 8 months. I mean, really sick. Like, couldn't keep food down, lost massive amounts of weight, and just couldn't get out of bed finally one day. So he took her to the walk-in clinic, and they said she needs to be in the emergency room. They take her to the emergency room, and you have stage 4 cancer. Now that I believe, okay? And I believed it because of her illness and how bad she was. But the fact was she never went to a doctor, okay? So if she would have done a blood test, if she would have done simple tests, they would have caught this in this time. See where I'm going with this? The leader of the free world would have that and then some. Stuff you and I could never pay for, okay? So my limited medical knowledge, that's the thing. And I'm telling you guys this. I've said this a lot lately. You have to get cancer pre-screening tests right now. You have to do it more often. I have a lot of health people out there, and I have that are into health and fitness and natural remedies. I'm all for all that stuff. But I'm telling you guys, if you can get a blood test that would determine this, and yes, you get false positives, and yes, you've seen the colon cancer test on TV, and certain people have a higher risk of having a false positive, meaning they tell you have cancer, but you don't. So again, when you get a diagnosis for anything, other than you're breaking your arm and I've got to get it set and fixed, get multiple opinions about this. Just telling you, you'll feel better about it, but you know, let me know what you think about this. Do you think it was shenanigans, or have we been told the truth lately? What do you think? Yeah, that's a simple way of putting it, because I just think that we're in a tough economy right now. And if you know that, you can flourish in this. A lot of people become multimillionaires and made tremendous amounts of money during the Depression, during down economic times. It happens. I've been a guy that's been dead broke before in my life and completely turned my life around. You have to start over, and you have to take each day. And a friend of mine, you know, who's a great friend of mine still, talked about how you need to get base hits in your life. Everybody wants to go out and hit the big home run and have that big deal that's going to change everything. No, that's not what you need. You need a base hit. You need to put together a few base hits. And if you're like the Angels over the weekend, you get to sweep the first place Dodgers and send Shohei packing. Oh, that's right. He was at home. So very satisfying. But the point is that put together singles, guys, just one hit at another after another. Sell the stuff you don't need, save money, get rid of crap, cut people out of your life that are toxic. It's really important, okay? I was going to end this video with this, but I'm going to talk about it now. And that is, you know, they talk about the amount of that you should walk each day, and we hear this number 10,000 steps. Okay, from a guy that walks 10,000 steps a day, they say that that's great, but what you need to do is not sit. The people that have jobs that sit a lot are the people that get more Alzheimer's. So I'm telling you guys, you don't want to sit there and go to the gym. You don't want to be around gym rats. Don't do it, okay? But go out and walk. Find a place to walk. I'm telling you, look at this place. Imagine walking here during the day. There's nobody here but me, okay? So get yourself healthy, eat right, don't abuse anything, and including food, guys. Go out and make good choices, but get some fitness. And look at this, because this is a great story. The story will be below, but you need to go out and figure out ways to get up and move around. Okay? Go listen to the ball game. Go listen to your favorite music. Listen to podcasts. Do that. One thing that was talked about last week, was Grant Cardone talking about how, all these places were damaged in the LA fire and there hasn't been any permits. Grant Cardone has 16,000 apartments that he owns with his company. And he was told through his insurance broker told him this, and I'm going to cover this extensively on the private channel, but his insurance broker said, hey, listen, have you heard that the state of California is going to seize all of Malibu with eminent domain? Now, Grant Cardone's house did not burn down, but is there toxic crap all around there? Can he live there? No. He probably doesn't have running water still. I wonder if the power's on even at that house right now. But the neighbors and everything, they haven't even done core samples yet. They haven't determined how bad the soil is in his neighborhood. Well, why is that? Why is that? Again, only 4 building permits have been pulled in that area. And it looks like, maybe it's shenanigans, guys. Maybe they're going to seize this by eminent domain. That's what his insurance man told him, is that they're going to seize the coastal land by eminent domain. So, again, let me know what you think about all this stuff. But if you knew that and you were Grant Cardone, what would you do? Well, Grant Cardone's a big boy. I mean, that guy, I'm not worried about him because, he is a billionaire. He's going to fight this. He's already said he's going to sue LA County. Think about those poor people on that beach that may get their houses taken away. They have to pay their property taxes right now. They don't have a home. It's burnt down. Like Grant Cardone said, it's toxic waste at this point. So let me know what you think about this. Okay, it's a lot more to cover. Hey, I'm going to finish this video with these last few things. And the first thing is YouTube put together a list of the top 100 podcasts. And I'm thrilled about this. I'm completely honored to even be considered with these people. So great list. And, I'm not on it. Don't get me wrong. Don't have any illusion that I'm on the top 100. But just to compare myself to these people is always nice. So there's that. So maybe someday, guys. Anyways, the next thing is Klarna. Klarna. Klarna is the buy now, pay later service. And they just announced that they had 50% more revenue, but lost half their money. That's the buy now, pay later service. Guess what? You can go to Costco now and use Klarna and use buy now, pay later at Costco. Guys, I'm telling you, please don't do this. Please don't do it. Everybody has the best intentions. And I was listening to a newscaster this morning, and she was saying, hey, I did this once when I was young, and I thought I was going to pay it off, and then the car broke down, and then I had to move quickly, and then before you know it, she was paying double for the thing that she was going to do buy now, pay later, and pay no interest on, and the interest payment kicked in. Uh-oh. Final story is Los Angeles. Los Angeles is begging for tourism, okay? Well, get rid of the homeless, get rid of the junkies, clean the place up, and because it's unsafe. It's unsafe. Again, I'll say this again. I'll say this on every video if you guys want me to. One of my proudest moments as a parent was getting my daughter out of that S-hole and moving her from downtown LA in a really nice building that started out being beautiful, okay? Security guards, Walgreens downstairs, to where the Walgreens got closed for crime and the area fell apart. All the businesses shuttered around her, and it was death, okay? It was horrible, and I'm so glad she doesn't live there anymore. But hey, we want more tourism here. Okay, clean up the mess. You know, the problem with it is people go to Hollywood. They save their entire lives to go to downtown Hollywood, the Walk of Fame and everything like that, and it's awful. Okay, it's abysmal, and it's a lot of homeless people, a lot of junkies, and a lot of bad things. So, needless to say, I will not be doing a tourism commercial for Los Angeles anytime soon. Maybe I will. It'll be for Orange County. Hey, stay out of LA, come to Orange County. Anyways, you get the idea. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, email me hello at iAllegedly. And again, it's nice to even have my name mentioned in the top 100 podcast. I'm not on that list, but just comparing myself to those people is always nice. Okay? I'll see you soon.